Okay, so on the YouTube app, it says it's live, but there's no video. On my phone, I
Yeah,
can
there we
see
go.
video.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we got video now.
All right.
And audio.
You can hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can hear it. All good now. Okay. Well, this is the first time we're using YouTube, and so in combinations with that and the crappy internet I have at my place, I think we're running now.
We are indeed appearing to run. If you guys could, who are already watching, jump on and share this just so we get a few more people aware that we are live through YouTube rather than live
Oh,
through
yeah.
Facebook.
I've got chat now.
That would be awesome. Thank you, Jake.
But from my view, I'm still getting the video is unavailable. So I can see the video on
OBS.
Yes, and that's about it.
Well, I guess that's how it works.
Oh, I still can't type. Nope. Doesn't let me type into chat either. So, oh no,
Just doesn't. Thanks, Jake, for sending me the link, mate. That's really helpful.
What did he send you?
The link to the to the YouTube link, like the video.
Okay.
Hi, Regan.
Regan's back from Japan now, I think.
They're all back from Japan.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen any episodes. I thought there was going to be some episodes of the Clutch Slip come out, but there hasn't been anything.
No.
All right, we're just going to let the stream build up a little bit before we get into it.
I guess we'll just talk about nothing then in the meantime, maybe.
Well, Japan trip. I saw Aaron and Adam on the weekend.
Yep.
So you're all pretty much locked in and ready to go now?
Almost. So we've got our flight sorted. And I've got most of the accommodation booked. Well, I've got a whole crap ton of messages coming through Facebook now for some reason. Anyway, yeah, so we do have accommodation, hire cars. We missed out on our cheap hire cars that we got last time, but sorting something else out. Otherwise, I think some people are sourcing cars, possibly. So one of our teammates is selling his old car over there. So if you're interested, check that out. I think he's put it on Gaijin Sales on Facebook. It's a S13. It goes really well, but it looks beat up.
I heard you might have been trying to sell your car over there too, mate.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't selling it. I won't. I won't go on the record. So no, I'm just lending. Yeah, I'm just lending Adam my car in returns for him fixing it because I put a T28 on it, and ever since I put a T20 on it, it's been running really, really badly, and I'm not motivated to drive it.
So get the dude from PowerTune to drive it, so he has to fix it.
Yeah,
that's the way to. That's the cleverest way to do it, I think.
Yeah. So.
It sounds like it should be a good trip. They were putting crap on me that I should be going, but
you should be going.
No money, mate. No money.
Just sell your car, get something cheaper.
Just no car to drive in Australia. Just Japan trips only.
No, you instead of having that car you have here, the white one, you just sell that up, and then divide that into two cars. So one car in Japan and one car here.
I won't make that much money back on it, I don't think.
So.
Alright, well, I guess we should sort of get into it. We've got a few people watching, so...
Yeah, I really can't see very much. I don't know why this... It must be... Oh, Oh no, the chat's coming through. Hello.
Yeah.
It's Ned from Queensland, lol. Ned.
I don't even know what that means. Mitch
Uh,
just threw a good idea at us, but it's probably a bit late for it. He said we should have done a pre-show on Facebook and then redirect people over to the YouTube.
Oh yeah, we can do that next time. But this is kind of like a trial because I've never used YouTube before. One thing I think I'd mention is, oh yeah, yeah, I know who Ned is now. One thing I should mention is that on the YouTube screen, it's not coming up in a very intuitive way. So it says the video is unavailable, so I can't even tell if it's live. It says there's a green light indicator saying it's live and the stream health is question mark, which I assume is just information. It's 11 people watching, 10 minutes have elapsed. So yeah, actually there's more stats underneath, so that's pretty cool.
And Jai is in the house again. Welcome, Jai. Can't wait for that entry for Tassie to come through.
Yeah. Okay, so.
But not before I come through his door on Monday.
Oh yeah. So. Yeah, I'll be going down there.
Are you coming down to Revo? Or coming up for Revo?
I think it's down still.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Unless it's elevation. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Goulburn's lower than us. Just like Sydney and Melbourne.
Further south.
Brisbane. No, elevation. Talking about height, so you know.
No, you're talking about north and south,
no,
mate.
No. We're like above all of you. That's right.
So
what's the height of Sydney? What's it called? Height?
I don't know. We're on the ocean, mate. Our sea level is at sea level.
0. That's right. And so Canberra is 600 meters up. So yeah. So whenever.
Well, there's your geography lesson, guys. It's almost as high as Mount Fuji.
600 or 800 meters. I can't remember. But anyway. Yeah. So we have to come off and down to see you guys.
Fair enough. Okay, fair enough. So, but you're coming.
Yeah. I've got the day off, but
bringing a car just in case.
Yeah, I want to take some video, so I'm gonna put the cars on the trailer. So I will just leave it on the trailer and head down, but we'll see if I drive or not. Might have to wait till some people crash out.
Yeah, and, if Nick's watching or sort of hears, get EG in.
Nick said the day's full.
Yeah, no, I know, but like, you know,
that's
if
right.
If he ever comes to DCA, mate, he's just gonna get a fat 0 if he doesn't get you in. So
no, it's fine. I had a chat with Nick, and so no, I can completely understand the cap, and because otherwise, if you just try and put more and more people in, that's less track time for everyone. So
yeah, the last one was
fair. Yeah. So I'm just saying, if someone breaks down or if they crash out, then
on the way.
No. Things happen. Engines blow. Like my engine blew up last time. I got one session in, and then poof, that's it. No more compression.
I'm hoping I can keep mine together.
Yeah. Why? Yours is freshly built.
No, I know, but I'm just really good at breaking shit, so I'm gonna try and avoid that at this round. Okay. I guess we should roll into it. So, episode 12.
Episode 12.
Clutch Kick.
Yes.
Welcome. First live on YouTube, and I think this weekend in Australian drifting. I guess we've got a few big news things coming out. Pictures showing up from the Bends, the drift / go-kart / rallycross track looks like the pavement is fully down.
Off the drift section, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like there's still some curbs and stuff to go in, but yeah, holy crap, like it's actually happened.
Yeah, I know. Have you seen the aerial photos of it? It looks really cool.
But it's actually happened. I think people would have been anticipating this sort of thing was somebody was going to flop out and I don't know. I just don't think anybody would have expected that level of dedicated drift track in Australia to ever actually happen, and it's actually happened. So
no, I think
I don't know.
It would have happened. That guy is really keen. Like if you see all these videos, like his interviews, he was keen to get, because I'm pretty sure those SA drifters were working with him to try and design the track as well, and he seemed pretty keen on getting that stuff
Yeah, so that's
going.
cool. So keen for a road trip down there once that's open?
Yeah.
I'm like totally down for that one. Willing to do a big trip for that. Hopefully they do a couple of day event there. It'd be interesting to see, considering it is a motorsport precinct, if they'll have random drop-in style events ever, or if it will just be dedicated events. So we'll catch the SA drift guys once, or drifting drifting SA guys once there's a little bit more details on that one. The Togo kids put up a fairly interesting post today. I don't know if you've seen that or followed it at all.
Yeah, I commented on that.
Basically these guys put up I think they're guys part of the Revolution Motorsport team, and just sort of looking for expressions of interest of if anybody in the greater New South Wales, Sydney region would be, down to do a couple of hours travel if there was a dedicated drift track built a little bit south of Sydney. So it's interesting. A few comments on there from people who don't actually drive. So this is the problem with asking Facebook, and then a few comments from guys from interstate. But yeah, look, if something like that can get off the ground, it would be amazing. It would, at the right price, people might stop doing so many street lamp inspections in Canberra and come up and drive that on the weekends instead. At least then you don't need headlights and taillights so much.
Hey, we do more driving than you do.
No, I'm understanding that, but I mean, like, then I can drive with you and not have to look at street lamps. So yeah, that's an interesting one. So hopefully those guys can get something off the ground if there's plans in the background. And I think if anybody can make it happen, those guys can, because I know they're super keen to do some fundraising and have already put plans to other places to try and make it more drift friendly, but haven't got the response that they were hoping for. So yeah, those guys are doing a good job. So hopefully something can come from that. Look, and I'm sure they're not talking 3 weeks time. We're talking years down the track. So that would be super cool if that could happen. We also had Vic Drift from the weekend. Did you watch that? The live stream from Vic Drift?
I only watched the People's Choice, so it's like the last 15 minutes. People's Choice, and Chopper and Justin going at it for the final. I don't actually hang around for the results. I can't remember why, but I didn't watch it. I saw the stream, and I think I shared it around via messages.
Yeah, maybe I think that was Saturday, and I was at. Congratulations, Hung and Kathy. Hung is the person I keep borrowing that green S14 from. So it was their wedding on the weekend. Congratulations. I do remember all of it, even though it may have looked like I didn't remember any of it, but I remember the whole thing.
I got sent some photos, I saw some photos of you puking your guts out.
Yeah, I did good. It wasn't that. It was the fish.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was the fish. It was the fish that I didn't eat.
Okay.
So,
all right.
yeah,
yep,
congratulations to those guys. And yeah, so I didn't watch any of the Vic Drift stuff. So Mitch Sanders from last week sent us through a bit of a mini report. I don't know if you want to go through the report. If you want me to go through the report.
Oh, you can go through it. That's right. I can't.
I'm awful with names.
I can't. Yeah, for some reason I've got like 100 messages come through at once, so I just got to close all the windows.
So Justin backed up his first round qualifying number one and win with another first round winning qualifying and winning the competition. Yep, kept that streak alive. Daniel Shoulders. I'm not sure Daniel competed the first round. If Mitch is in the chat and can throw me a lifeline on this one, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember if Daniel competed the first round, but he did mega awesome at the first round of DCA and is going down and doing Tassie. So he came second and went to a rerun in the finals. So yeah, he just looked like he made a mistake in the final. I need to go back and watch it because it sounds like it was pretty good. Nathan Ackerson, yeah, if I haven't butchered that name. First podium for him, Mitch believes, and Oh, you didn't qualify at the first round. Jesus. Okay. And that's Daniel. Didn't qualify at round 1. So well done on taking it to everybody at round 2. And then in fourth. So looking like good
Sorry, I
July.
think Greg's breaking up. He must be downloading a lot of movies. Or it's my end. I'm not too sure which end it is. Let me just check.
First round, mate.
Well, this is embarrassing, isn't it? I'm not too sure the connection issues on this end or on Greg's end, but Greg looks very blurry at the moment.
No, it's a connection issue because the live stream's gone pausey.
Oh, is it? So even me?
Yeah. It's back. Just give it a second. I look laggy as hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we good? Let us know in the chat.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not too sure. So from what I can see, Greg's super laggy, very pixelated.
It's probably not me downloading. Because my upload speeds always suck. My area's getting the NBN, so
yeah. My area is not for another decade apparently. So let's thank the Australian government again for their excellent planning infrastructure.
That would be your employer though, right?
No.
Yours is a private enterprise?
It is a government-funded private enterprise.
Oh, okay, that's fair then.
Yeah, so it does report to the government, but it doesn't. It has to justify its spendings and stuff like that. Anyway, I guess they could. Yeah, they are funding it, so they are. They still suck anyway. The government sucks. Doesn't matter. It's still shit. Like the internet should have been out here ages ago.
Yeah. Well, you to get the higher elevation, you get the Wi-Fi first, mate.
Well, they put it in the drug dealers' suburbs first, didn't they? Well, no, they're all the same. But anyway,
so they could keep Silk Road up and running.
Yeah, makes lots of money because if they get caught, then they can charge them. Actually, they can take the drugs and sell them on again. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, basically. I think that's all pretty much drift news for.
Rayleigh Matsuri was on as well.
Yeah,
last weekend.
And then
don't forget about Rayleigh. And
morning session in Queensland tomorrow morning. So get out and watch that if you're not driving.
And this weekend on Sunday down at Winton is the A86 Festival where they will have both drifting and sprints. I think that's what they said. So I don't know how they'll divide up the time, but they'll have the guy from the Running Free guy. If you've ever seen him on Instagram, he's the one with the shark helmet. I don't know how it's described, but you probably would have seen his videos all over Facebook where he's just driving really aggressively and he's just sort of swearing in his videos as subtitles. So, have you seen those, Greg?
I don't think so.
No,
I probably
really?
have. I probably have, but I'm awful with remembering names. I need to see things.
How far are you through Initial D?
Jesus, I have not watched any more Initial D. After the bad fish on the weekend, I was just totally cooked. I was down and out for the day.
Okay.
It's that bad fish.
Still not a very good excuse.
Give me an excuse to get over the food poisoning.
Well, are you still sick now?
I've been working, mate. Always, you've got to stop doing these live stream things. I always end up getting in trouble from people. Look, in better news, my car should be up and running, ready for tomorrow, and then I can go down and try and run some people's doors on Monday. That's my aim for Monday.
Okay.
So.
Cool.
I know EG will basically be just yelling at me, telling me that I'm a sissy and I need to grow a set and drive harder. So
Kind
I'm
of,
looking forward to that.
kind of. You need to hold the steering wheel a little bit more.
No, hands off, mate. All right, so onto topic. We thought, considering we're just sort of testing out the YouTube thing, we didn't want to get too deep into too many extra technical difficulties by adding other people into this. So we thought EG's been pretty anti Formula D for a couple of years or a few years now, and I'm
Yeah,
pretty
for
pro.
ages.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty pro FD, and EG's. I don't know if I would say EG's super pro D1, but he still loves his everything Japan.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I'm not super pro D1. There's some good and some bad things. But I don't like the
Well,
way.
let's save that for
Yeah.
now. But you caught up on top 16 of FD.
Yes, I did
Did
somehow.
you watch all of top 32?
No, I didn't. I didn't get to watch Top 32. I don't even know where the stream is because I kept clicking through the FD Facebook page and just highlighting live, and it kept linking me to the top 16. So I couldn't find the top
It's on.
32.
Yeah, yeah. They've done something funny, and part of the top 32 disappeared anyway. I didn't watch top 32 because I was not awake at that time, and I just sort of scrolled through it really quickly. And when you wake up on Sunday morning and the first thing you see is a bright yellow Ferrari on fire,
Yeah,
it's a bit scary.
but they kept
Uh,
linking to other lives. So every time I tried to do the search, it just come up with top 16 instead. So I'll get to it maybe.
okay. You need to go on YouTube and go on Network A is where
Oh,
it's
it's
all
on there
at.
now.
Yeah, it's been on there from straight after it happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, well,
yeah.
that's dumb. I kept looking on Facebook, so
Okay.
yeah.
Old people. Um, all right. So yeah, I guess so. Let's go FD from the weekend, from the little bit that you managed to watch. Uh, things you liked and things you didn't like.
I so qualifying was a bit funny. There was a few things that I didn't really agree with. Um, I can't remember specifically what they were. I probably should have written down just like everything else. Some of the criteria that they have, or they, well, sorry. I think it's really hard to tell because I'm not in the briefing and it's not really that clear. But one thing I don't like about FD is that it's more of a power skid sort of comp rather than drifting. Like there's kind of only very small parts of FD that have what I consider to be like entertaining parts.
But I guess on this track itself, it may look fairly power skiddy, but I think we lose a lot of the drift part of it, particularly through the long sweeping corner, because there are a couple of big sort of throw in and holds that you
Kind
don't
of.
really.
No, I think it's the emphasis. So there is drift sections in this, and you can drift it, but they put a lot of emphasis on getting into the clips. So some of the clips can be done under drift, where you can see. So people like Forrest Wang and uh, James Dean on clip one, you can see that they have so much angle and they're pushing away from the wall. So that was cool, and they rewarded that. But then the rest of it, they're just sort of powering through the course until the last hairpin, where that is kind of like a drift section as well, because they're throwing it in, and you can see the other cars braking real hard, and they're trying to cut really tight around that hairpin, and that's cool. But
The last part. Yeah, I think the two Waterhouse guys did that the best all weekend. Just sort of came off that last outside clip against the wall and then threw it sort of big and really chucked it in almost backwards.
yeah,
Not fully backwards, but sort of committed. They weren't driving around that corner. They sort of threw it and then drove the last part around that corner, which was super cool and actually looked like the fastest way around there too.
yes, well, yeah, that's what it is. It's meant to be the fastest way through the corner. But the other thing is, I have a feeling with battles they change some of the camera angles, as in they didn't move the cameras, but they used different cameras to make it look more exciting. So that actually took away some information that you got from qualifying. So one example is the sort of main big sweeping corner. Instead of using the camera sort of looking from one side all the way through to the hairpin, so that the entry corner one through to the hairpin, it cut through to a camera that was sort of on closer towards the hairpin, and you're kind of looking at them in a way where the cars are like lined up next to each other. So you lose information that way, so you can't really tell where they are. Did you
Yeah,
notice that?
yeah, partly, but I guess it's hard because they use those cameras, but I guess they can go back and chop and change when they're looking at replays to play a replay the whole way through from one camera angle.
Yep.
But yeah, I guess it's a fine balance between being able to get it to the mass audience of people who aren't drifters,
Oh yeah, it's more
or drift
entertaining.
fans.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's more entertaining from
Yeah.
that. But then from our point of view, you sort of look at it and go, oh, like what actually happened there? I would have liked to have seen more. And I completely agree with that. That it did sort of change at funny times. But even the first corner, the camera sort of sits in a funny spot, and it really does make a lot of their entries look sort of dicky on that track. A bit
Kind of.
funny.
I really
Uh,
didn't like. I kind of wonder what the entry criteria was, because some of them
they
were coming in.
FD's changed over the years, and they were kind of for a while there they were really set with what they wanted, and now it's way more free. As long as the lead car doesn't drive across, like they normally will have a lane sort of thing. But I think on this track they also wanted the chase car had to be behind, because I know Chelsea Denofa got in trouble on one of his chase runs for coming too far in behind the lead car, and pulling into the lead car's lane, basically, even though he was behind that behind well and truly behind the lead car.
Yep.
So that was interesting. I think there was another battle. It might have been top 32, the two BMWs, Christoph Luce and Alex Hilbrun, where one of the chase cars had tried to get up too close beside the lead car, and that totally choked him out. So you start to see when people do mess up what's being asked, you sort of see why they're not being asked to do things like tuck right up the inside on that corner. But it's a 90-degree, but it's a sort of a semi-wide open 90-degree corner.
Yeah.
And
it is a 90-degree, but it is, you can arc through it.
yeah, and I guess James Dean's entries on that corner were pretty cool.
Yes.
I'm surprised more people aren't doing a power geared style feint entry now with the cars that they've got. I find it really interesting, especially some of the Mustang guys, like the Falcon Tire Mustang. He would normally on an Irwindale will do, get off the line in first and second, be gripping, and then as he grabs third and fourth, just start smoking the tires in a straight line for that initiation flick, and just be able to sort of float it onto lock. And I found it really interesting that one of the only few people that was doing that was James. I think Peter sort of did it a couple of times, but I didn't really see anybody else doing it. Not even Forrest was really going for that style of entry. So I found that kind of interesting. I thought that might be the best way to settle the car on that corner, because the sort of the handbrake drags have looked really unpredictable for that. It's like it just more so that some people at times didn't look like they were able to unsettle the car enough
Yeah.
to get through that corner properly.
Yeah, I really don't like that. It looks dangerous as well, because I think one time it's really hard to tell from the straight on camera angle, but it looks like they just pulled the handbrake and they just didn't do anything, and then they slowly sort of tipped in more angle. But that was in qualifying, so I don't know in battles.
Yeah, that corner would be a whole lot more interesting, potentially filmed from inside of the corner, so that I don't know, maybe like on the apex of the corner or somewhere around there where you can sort of see the last movement before the handbrake grab. because you don't have a choice. Like even James Dean and all that were flicking the car, having to settle the car on handbrake because of the slow corner, and then having to get back on the power. So
Yeah, kind of. They were doing like a quick feint from what I could see. It's really hard to tell on that camera angle. I don't think it's too bad, but it's good when they make their movement obvious, rather than just pulling the handbrake and then the car just slowly like getting more and more angle. So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
go on.
No, Sean Power is jumping in saying like it's very different once you actually walk that track compared to what it looks like on the live stream. I've also driven it on R Factor and all those sort of simulators before, and
Yeah.
yeah, getting the car settled for that entry is hard, and you do sort of it does really narrow out on you. But then once you sort of get into that long sweeper, I think it looks faster on the stream than it actually is. I think it's probably a lot more drifty than power skiddy than we probably get off that, off the stream itself, because you sort of there's a couple of times where even on the same direction as they hit. So the first outside zone, or not even, it wasn't an outside zone. As you come through the first corner, that was only a touch and go next to the tire stack. So you didn't have to maintain it. You just had to get there or get as close as you could. And then there was a zone just at the end of that wall.
Yeah.
And there was a full zone there. And that's why the judges were saying that James Dean and Peter didn't get higher scores, because both of them would just touch and go out of that section rather than driving through that section. And that's what through clip one, through the at the end of that wall. And then I don't think there was actually clips. I didn't see any indicators on the wall, but that next wall that's on that
in
that
front
corner,
of where the main camera was. I guess I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah. And then then just that inside clip up further, and I think once you power past that first outside zone, you float the car out as much as you are on power, but then you sort of flick it out and try and get the bum of the car to get as close to that wall as possible, and then you drive out of again, and then you reflick again. Well, at least a few of the guys were able to reflick into that last corner.
Yeah, kind of. It's just.
But again, okay. So looking at this weekend's event overall, though, do you feel like they were starting to reward a more traditional style of drifting than the power skidding that you feel like you're used to seeing from FD?
I don't think they're rewarding enough. So even when people were transitioning quickly, they weren't sort of being awarded, and it didn't seem like they were awarded any more points. They were more focused on getting through the clips and maintaining being sideways, or maintaining angle. Sorry.
Yeah. So
the deeper you were in the clips, the more points you had, rather than it seems it's a bit weird. So like the line is more about the clips than the line as in a line drawn.
Yeah, I sort of get what you mean.
Yeah.
But is there any calls, especially in the battles, that you would have disagreed with when it comes to purely off their judging criteria?
No, their calls, some of them. So there's nothing I would have disagreed with. There's some of them I would have thought you need to do it one more time. Like it was pretty clear who won. But it's not clear. But it was. I would. If I had to pick a winner, I would have been able to pick one.
Yeah, there was a couple of them in the top 16 that I was like, oh, do you really need to go one more time? Like it's a bit. I do agree with that, definitely.
But I don't know. Yeah, again, I don't know the criteria, so I don't know, because they were weighting some sections more than other sections, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Similar to what you guys do with DCA, putting more weight in one section than on another. Yeah. So that's enough for that to change the result. I guess another interesting one, but you haven't watched Top 32, that I thought was a bit of a weird decision and may have been a one more time, was Ryan Turk went against one of the guys who's come up from Pro 2. Okay. He's in a S15 fronted S14.
Yep.
And the guy didn't do a great job of his chase, but he was okay. He was just there the whole time. Made some little mistakes here and there, but then Ryan in his chase just hung back, like not inactive chase hung back, but
Yeah.
was a little bit, I don't know, a little bit vanilla and not all that great in his chase run. And I thought, man, that's a great opportunity to open yourself up for a potential one more time. I wouldn't have given the other guy the win, but I would have been giving pretty serious consideration to making them go again. But it's interesting to hear like the commentators are sort of going on about, oh, it's a bit scary to go against the driver that you don't know, and you can understand him playing it conservative and all this sort of stuff. But it's like the dude's good enough to get a Pro 1 license in FD. He did okay in Pro 2, and to me, if you're good enough to get that, then at some stage you've just got to go for it.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. If the other guy bins it in front of you because he's crap, he bins it in front of you, you get the win anyway, right? So
yeah, you're right. They do have a level system, so they've got to work their way up. They can't just sort of buy their way into the competition.
Yeah.
So because he should have some skill. So it is good. It's like when I'm saying that we should have when we have qualifying, there's like a 60-point cutoff that it would anyone below 60 points that qualify, they don't qualify because they can't.
They're not safe.
Yeah, then their skill isn't high enough to get through the course. So, but if with this sort of system where they have to go through Pro 2, I don't even know I don't understand.
Yeah, they've got Pro 2. There's a way to petition in if you're good enough. Like the dude in the Ferrari is the first non-Japanese guy to ever compete in D1GP. There's been guys who have been. What's the Japanese guy who's driving Nishida's car now? You probably don't even know.
Kazuya.
He drives a yellow S15 in FD
garage.
Japan.
Yeah.
He got straight through, not having to do Pro 2, but he also did well in FD Japan. So there is a tiered system to make it in there. So for me, sort of the justification for a guy who's been in there for a number of years to be able to.
That's it, Kazuya Taguchi.
To be able to say, oh, playing it safe because I don't know what this driver's like. Well, you shouldn't have to know what he's like. You should just trust that the system is good enough and he's good enough to be there. And I actually thought, yeah, it's rough. He was no James Dean or like Waterhouse team or anything like that, but he still did some solid runs around there. And I thought all the Pro 2 guys actually did pretty good jobs. And the one I'm most upset for is Rad Dan in the Supra, who in his lead run, he actually did a pretty decent chase against Odie, and then in his lead run hit that first touch and go and just totally rotated the car along the wall. So he's doing a
top
whole
32,
YouTube,
wasn't it?
Yeah, he does a YouTube vlog from his shop, and yeah, pretty disappointing to see him wreck the car like that because it finally looked like he was finding his mojo.
Yeah, that sucks.
But yeah, I guess from an entertainment point of view, I guess you've only scrolled through it fairly quickly. But yeah, what did you think overall of the driving and the battles and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, it's good. I don't.
He's like, I don't want to say positive things.
No, it's so okay. I was disappointed in one thing. So I thought the driving would be better, especially because these are top tier guys. Like they go on about, not everyone, but generally they say this is a top level of drifting in the world. Like FD is the absolute top. So
you got to remember, they're not saying it's the top level of driving. No, they say it's the Premier Series. It means they put on the best
world.
No, yeah. So they're putting on the best. They're putting the best show on.
It's that doesn't the F1 of drifting is what they've said.
But yeah, but F1's boring as shit. Like F1 to me is F1 is some of the worst racing in the world.
Okay.
They have the coolest cars and like the coolest technology, but it makes the racing awful. Did you watch the Australian Grand Prix? Like that was crap.
No, I didn't watch it.
They can't get within a certain distance of each other because the aero from the car in front upsets their aero.
Yeah, but
That's not car racing. That's time attack. And if your strategy goes right, you win.
Yeah, but that's the same as FD. So they've got all those rules in place, and they can play a strategy because they've got limited amount of tires. They've got practice laps and things like that. Everything there's a strategy in there.
So you're agreeing with my point that they're not necessarily saying that it's the best driving in the world. It's just
I'm saying
only a series.
It is the same as F1. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is what they're saying. It is the same as F1, and you saying F1's boring. That's the same sort of thing. Like my expectation, it was entertaining enough. I like drifting, so I watched it, but I was expecting better driving from everyone there. If they say they're the top tier.
And look, I completely agree with that. Like at the end of the day, it's still a national series until there's some sort of full-blown Formula One style international series where cars are being put on planes and flown around together or something like that. Then the cream will rise to the top in each series. And I thought the top 8 was pretty good. Top 16 was pretty solid. The top 32 I was a little bit disappointed about. I think because you sort of start to get more and more excited about this core group of guys and how close they drive together. Like I think Osbo and Peter's battle was mental until Peter made the mistake on the last section. But these guys are learning to drive somewhere else and then bringing that skill set to the US. But again, the US has the population and the market to be able to put on those style of events. Like, I've been to 2 FD events and they're exciting, not just because of the on-track stuff, but just the whole vibe that the event, the vibe the event gives.
I saw some other videos of not that event, but another FD where just because it's America, they have all the I don't know what you'd call them. Like they could be bands or something they're playing. I don't know what they are. They're like marching bands, but they're not marching bands.
Like the little military thing where they do they do that. That's because they're sponsored by the
U.S. Air Force,
American Air Force.
Yeah, and
so they do
one time they had planes fly over as well. That was a couple of years ago. Yeah, and that was really cool. I just watched a video. It wasn't during the actual main event. It was in the morning. Yeah, so that was really cool. But I think downtime is similar. I don't see any difference with downtime.
Nah, downtime was crap. I thought the downtime was pretty rough on this event.
It's similar to every other sort of drift event.
I don't know. I guess that's where D1's got me a little bit. Like they smashed through their top 16 pretty quickly, but I guess it's a little bit easier when a computer system's judging it. So, but we'll get into that more later. But yeah, the fact that they're able to do that, they punch it a little bit quicker. And I thought the judges were a bit scared to make a wrong call on some of them and took more time than this. Yeah, and took more time.
There was a couple where it took I thought, I didn't know. It would be nice to know what the thought process was, but they did those big long breaks all the times. They did actually say, they did give explanations why they made those decisions.
Yeah, look, I guess because you stepped away from FD and stopped following it. I guess what they've done really well, in my opinion, is that they're listening to what the public sort of wants, and they're trying to do more of that. Oh, we didn't understand this call. Okay, let's pull the judge in, even though we're not going to pull the judge in on every call. We want to try and get through this a little bit quicker. Okay, we're going to try and limit what we can do with that. Oh, people want to know more information about this. Let's go and find that information. Oh, people want to know more about the drama in the background. Let's go and find that information. And I guess they're still chasing it because at this stage we don't know what the perfect format for a drift event is yet. We know what it is from a driver's point of view. All we want to do is drive as often as possible and cut sick as much as possible.
Yeah.
We're going a little bit potato spec again, I think.
Looks okay to me. Unless it's my upload.
Okay, maybe it's just mine taking a shit then. So.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought. Oh no, mine's cut out as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, I think you're good now.
Are we back?
Yeah, no, you're good.
That's bizarre. My quality just went up heaps as well. All of a sudden.
You look really beautiful now.
You can see all my imperfections now.
Yeah, I see.
So entertainment-wise, I still think D1 is more entertaining than FD from a live stream point of view.
Yeah, so I guess. So you watched qualifying, right?
Of FD?
Yeah.
Yes.
So Peter and James's runs, mint,
Yes.
completely mint.
Yeah.
But I sat there and I was just like, wow, that's really boring.
What do you mean?
But I don't know why.
I
don't know if it's because I have this expectation from them that like.
Is it because the commentators always say the same thing over and over again?
No,
Make some noise.
It was just like they were just so, but it was just like so perfect, and it was like so didn't look like anything was gonna go wrong.
With
their run, like it was just so mint and just so perfect, and
that's so cool.
The car was in the right place, looks so settled. Yeah, and you just look at it and you're like, wow, I don't know what happened. Yeah, okay. Like I don't know what just happened, but then you sit back and then you appreciate what they just did, and you're like, wow. But then you watch somebody go through who's a little bit more sketchy, and you're like, oh my god, like they did so good to actually make it through it. But it was only because they were a little bit only because they were more scary. But I didn't feel like they deserved more points. But it just sort of like, like almost too easy, like it's happening.
So you might give them sympathy points then.
No, not sympathy points. It just gets me a little bit more. Yeah, they survived. Like it's cool. So yeah, I don't know.
The risk, I think a lot of people enjoy people crashing.
Yeah, it's not so much about about them crashing. It's just more about the survival at the end.
Yeah. Okay. They almost crashed.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's just looking that little bit more sketchy. Okay. I also thought Forrest Wang didn't drive that great. He did great in qualifying, and then he got a few gifts through the battles.
Yes, I thought the same thing too.
He's
a cool guy. Like I remember in Tasmania, he's awesome. But yeah, I thought he got lucky because I think the first time he was up against JR, I think.
Yeah. Or someone that was the 16. Yeah, but. Yeah, he did okay in his top 32. Then JR over-rotated and spun in front of him.
Because he was it was a cool run from JR.
Yeah, but Forrest had done a pretty average lead and was on a pretty average chase at that stage. He was
gonna lose,
for sure. And I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess what I'm finding a little bit interesting from the number of spins that sort of came out of a few people was, I know what my WiseFab can do, and one of the spins came from a dude with WiseFab, but I know these companies are working on more and more lock. It really is a safety net. I'm just surprised by these guys over-rotating. All they would have to do is come out of throttle a little bit to stop it from over-rotating. But it's just interesting to know, and would be interesting to know how highly strung these cars are, and the reason that JR spun in that sort of situation, because huge angle. Cooking it, would have expected a little bit more lock out of that car, and then it ends up backwards, and you're just like, what actually happened there?
Yeah.
So that stuff made it to me a little bit more interesting, a little bit more exciting. Would have expected maybe some cleaner battles, but I guess that's part of the show, and that's what keeps it exciting, I guess, because people are trying to push that little bit further. So yeah.
Otherwise, I don't have anything against drivers. I think from the last time I watched FD to this time, I think it's gotten better.
Yeah.
But
they always talk about the effect, right? So there was the Daigo effect on FD, and Daigo brought in a completely retarded car to that series.
Yeah. But I think I wasn't watching it from then.
And then everybody sort of pushed themselves and went, all right, we need 1,000 horsepower, and everybody chased the horsepower. And then last year, the Waterhouse guys' cars were super consistent, and everybody's like, all right, I'm going to get rid of my 2.4 liter 2J and drop down to a 3 liter. There was two cars that went from 3.4s down to 3 liters because of the fact that the Waterhouse guys had great success in the 3 liters, and a lot of the guys are starting to chase response again. Yeah, their cars are still making big power, but yeah, have started dropping that down. So it's just interesting to see the effect that these world-renowned drivers are having on that sort of series. They sort of come in and change the culture within a season, just because they see that, oh, look, that's helping. This is doing that, like whatever. Mitch is giving me hell, saying that I'll be driving on the limit of my Wisefab. Look, I'm still waiting on my Ackerman Ackerman adjusters, because I want to have a play so I can try and use it a little bit more. So we'll see what happens in Tassie. And I know I'm getting better at driving. I guess so. There are a few other things with FD, but I think we can address that later, like the fire and all that sort of stuff. But
you could talk about it now if you
also, I guess a few people had. So listening to Maximum Driftcast today was actually quite interesting to listen to, because they sort of addressed it and they had chased up some information. So basically, the fireys weren't allowed to, or any marshal was not allowed on track until both cars have come to a complete stop and are contained, basically.
Like Australia kind of thing.
Yeah, sort of. But I just find it interesting that when it comes to...
seems a bit stupid.
Well, yeah, the problem with drifting, I guess, is that we're under the same insurance as any automotive racing sort of sport.
Yeah, but if there's a guy burning on fire, then wouldn't you want them to go out there as quick as
supposedly
possible?
that car didn't catch on fire or really, like, all of a sudden flame up until just until the
camera switched over. Yeah,
switched over. But the thing is with it is that once you send a battle, those are the only 2 cars. If the car's gone, if the other car has gone past the incident, it should be completely safe to send a car. And I think they need to start maybe looking at the rules being a little bit different for that sort of situation, and being more on top of that. I can understand at a practice day or whatever, you can't just shoot a car out on track to go and contain a situation like that. But I think in Australia we put a pretty big emphasis on getting the driver of that car safe at any cost. But yeah, their marshals look fairly underprepared with the short sleeves and all that.
Yeah.
But
and
I don't
there's like if it was here. No, actually, no, I won't say that.
No,
it would be better. Yeah, it would be better if there was more extinguishers around the track.
Yeah. Especially, I guess, at a normal race event, you'd find that runoff area would have had a crap load of extinguishers. Like this weekend coming with the Indy cars, that runoff will have extinguishers everywhere, because it's a runoff area. So they expect people to go down there and potentially have a crash, but people don't generally expect on at a drift event for there to be a crash in that section. They'll normally end up in the tires just after it or further down the track. So I think a few people being a bit funny about that. I guess you live and you learn, and they'll probably be a little bit more prepared. I'm really surprised though that his fire suppression system didn't contain that.
I know no, it was fuel. So what people were saying that it caught on fire. He pushed the suppression system. It suppressed the fire for as long as it could, and then it just kept because the fire was going, it just kept going again. So
yeah, but if those fire suppression systems, like a good 7 kilo, and they come out with a crap load of pressure, they should contain a fuel fire like that. So I wonder if where the fuel was coming out was probably shielded from. Most of the time, what it'll be will be 2 nozzles in the engine bay, 2 nozzles generally pointed towards the driver. And this is what I find. I guess FD might not run it like this. He should have been covered in crap if he actually had a suppression system in there, unless they're isolated to just the engine bay. But you'd expect 2 nozzles in the bay, 2 in the car pointed towards the driver, and then 2 in the boot, especially if you've got your fuel system and all that sort of stuff in there. So I'm not totally convinced on the fire suppression system actually going off, because I would have expected a whole plume of stuff coming from there. Yeah, Connor, even if it's CO2, I'm pretty sure it comes out with you end up with a fairly big haze of stuff. So it's, I don't know, fairly interesting. So yeah, I know people are saying it's suppression, extinguisher, all that sort of stuff, but I've seen one of those systems go off. and it leaves a lot of stuff. And most of the new motorsport ones are still powder. It just doesn't destroy your electrical systems like the old stuff did. That's really what these guys should have in their car, especially when you're talking cars like the Ferrari that are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. So. But I'm guessing things like that there'll be some rule changes for sure after that one, because it is fairly scary. And if he got pinned against the wall, I'm not sure I'd want to know.
His door didn't open entirely. It was enough
Yeah.
for him to get out, and that
Yeah.
Marshall, he didn't look very confident in what he was doing either.
Nah.
So,
but similar to here, like I guess
he's a volunteer, I think. So, but
yeah, he's a volunteer, similar to what we have at a lot of our events, but it's Cow Club. Like, they don't run a whole bunch of events. Those guys basically do the Indy cars each year, and that's pretty much it. So they don't have a huge amount of experience, where a lot of our guys at our CAMS events and events in Australia, I would trust them.
Oh, no.
Almost.
I've talked to one of the guys, and he was just so dumb. And then he's like, I do so many events, blah blah blah. Like, as much as I appreciate his help, sometimes if you don't know what you're doing, you should say, I don't know what I'm doing, and then take the advice of other people that have experienced it before. So you're just reading through some comments on YouTube.
Connor's shooting. Yeah, Connor's shooting us some things.
Okay.
Nozzle shall be on the same.
So, so I'm not. Some of the events are. I don't think it's any better, but the volunteers, I can understand that they might be new, they might not have ever had this situation happen, but it seemed like a long time. And then even when you bring up Australia, there was World Time Attack as well, when there was a car stopped on the track. I think it was Luke Fink as well, and it took them 4.5 minutes to actually get on track.
Yeah.
Did the internet shoot itself again? There's a I don't know if it's my end or if it's Greg's end.
I don't know. And we lost the live stream.
Yep. I hate this internet.
Oh, we might be back up in a second.
Just wait for that to come back. If it does come back.
Yeah, I think we're back up. Yeah, we're back up. We get messages from people.
Alright, cool. Once again, thank you to the Australian government for our wonderful internet infrastructure that we have.
So yeah, look, there are definitely slow. I guess the problem is, in any motorsport, is the incidents, as much as they all make the news and make it all over the internet, are few and